we never lost our belief in the fact that we had a chance to win that game. Even down 2 scores, just continuing to fight for each other. And like I said, win as a team, lose as a team. But, I can't turn the ball over, put us in positions, where they have easy points from the 1-yard line. That's not our defense's fault. That's my fault.
Baker Mayfield, great performance last night, great performance against the Tennessee Titans. He's developing and maturing before our eyes. That's good news for the Cleveland Browns. Bad news is they lost the game, but the good news is Baker Mayfield is becoming the guy that many have wondered, is he going to be that guy? Is he the right guy for the Cleveland Browns to take them where they want to be? Could it be they have all the right pieces in place except a quarterback who is in that upper echelon? And I'm not ready to say he's in the upper echelon, but he's moving that way.
He's trending.
Something's happened.
Right.
Yeah, this 4 months of influence of Kevin Stefanski is starting to pay off and push him in that direction. And that could be very good news for the Browns. Obviously, if he becomes that guy, that means you don't have to go try to find somebody else who will become the guy.
Right. Not everybody just walks in the league and is Patrick Mahomes or, Aaron Rodgers when they take over and they just become the guy. Not everybody does that. Hey, the guy that we consider the guy of guys, he won 3 Super Bowls, kind of handing the ball off, defense, make a big throw, Tom Brady. And then it evolved. And then he could carry the team. And then it was like, oh, man, Brady's here. He's going to carry it, and we're okay no matter who we got on the team. Baker Mayfield can become that. Either way, you're right. I mean, we're watching him evolve and mature right in front of our face. And, 2, I think was one thing that just gets glossed over with him. It is 3 offenses, he's had to play through in his NFL career. That's not easy. And his first 2 offenses in the NFL and also leading back to Oklahoma were just pass. Don't ever think about managing a game. Just keep throwing it. Who cares? If he's open, great. If you throw an interception, who cares? We'll come back and throw it again. And he's had to learn to play a different style. And as we see, he's really learned to adjust and play the right way. And the offensive system fits him and everything. And he was great last night. I mean, so many big-time throws. The interception happened. That's going to happen in football. It's not a perfect sport. But what we loved is the way he answered back, and they took momentum back in the football game where you went, whoa, they're not going to lose this. You almost had that feeling like they're just not going to be stopped tonight. So a lot to like about what Cleveland and Baker Mayfield did.
Something about Baker Mayfield that I had considered in the past, but it crystallized just now as you were explaining what he's doing. It has to be so difficult for him to come out of the Big 12 and see what rivals and teammates in that conference have done in the NFL, like Patrick Mahomes from Texas Tech,
right.
Kyler Murray, who succeeded Baker Mayfield at Oklahoma. These guys come in and take the NFL by storm.
Right.
He doesn't. Instead of trying to be them and to fast forward to where they are, I think at some level he's accepted. Just have to be the best me I can be. I'm not going to be Patrick Mahomes. He's not going to be me. I have to be the best Baker Mayfield I can be and get the most out of my skill sets, whatever they may be. They're different than Patrick's. They're different than Kyler's.
Right.
I just have to focus on me and hope the success comes. But that has to be. I mean, you think about that. Guys
Definitely.
Guys that you were better than in college are now better than you. That's going to create a weird sense of urgency and almost panic. Where am I? Where is my career going? Why are they great? Not that it's something you're going to talk openly about, but at some point in the quiet moments, Chris, that's rattling around inside of him.
Definitely.
Where he sees these guys having wild success and he's still kind of spinning in the mud in the well-manicured field.
You can press. You want it. You want your success now. You believe you're every bit as good as those other guys or at least close to it. Hey, you're naturally like that with just the other quarterbacks in your draft class, let alone guys you had rivalries with in college and know personally and do those things. But, I used to sit there with guys that I was drafting. If I knew I was going to play them or it was coming up on the schedule, I mean, I had it circled. oh, we might play Rex Grossman. I'm going to show Rex Grossman who should have been drafted first. Like, I mean, that's what I really thought. Kyle Bowler, I'm going to show him. Well, hey, his bar was higher than mine. I know that. He played in the Super Bowl. I didn't. So I'll take Rex Grossman's career and money if he wants. We can switch, all right? But
I'm not going to give you many complaints in my life or compliments in my lifetime. But and there it is. If you had been the starting quarterback of the Bears in 2006 and had kept your spleen, you would have played in the Super Bowl too.
Well, thank you. I'd like to think that too. I don't know that, but hey, I had my chance, and it is what it is. But to your point, yes, when it comes to that type of stuff, it is on the radar of the quarterback, and he's. You said it a few weeks ago. He has shown maturity on the field. He has shown maturity in his interviews and the way he's handled himself this year too. So I think he's turned the corner in all areas, as has the franchise of the Cleveland Browns and what Stefanski's done there and everything. I mean, gosh, they closed the gap significantly from where it was between Ravens and Browns, earlier this year. And it's one of those things where I just look at it and go, if Cleveland and Baltimore play again, because, I'm like you. I picked Baltimore last night. They're desperate. And I was just I'm sorry, I was a little bit of like, I don't know. I got to see Cleveland win one more of these games before I can pick them totally. I just wasn't. But even though they lost after this, I'll have no problem picking them from here on out. And if they played the Ravens again, I think it's scary for the Ravens. It's not a good matchup for the way they moved the ball, running and throwing it on that Ravens defense last night.
I want to see, and I'm influenced by what happened last night. I fully admit that. I want to see round 3 of Browns-Ravens more than I want to see round 3 of Steelers-Ravens.
I think I do too. I think I agree. There's more to this. What is it? I guess it's just a new upstart team. We've seen Ravens-Steelers for so long, for so many years. It's cool to see the two young quarterbacks go after it, and they're trying to establish something and their careers and their legacy. So it is cool. I'm with you. I think you're right.
Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt had a big night last night. Nick Chubb had 82 yards rushing on 17 carries, 4.8 yards. Hunt didn't run the ball as much. He only had 6 carries for 33 yards, but he had 6 pass receptions for 77 yards, and Chubb and Hunt each had a pair of touchdowns. Last night's game was, I think, only the 3rd in NFL history with 9 total rushing touchdowns. Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
The Ravens had 5 and the Browns had 4. Mayfield's, hey, when he decides to go north-south, he can move.
Yes.
He had that touchdown at the end of the game that put the Ravens tied the game, at 42-all. He was awesome with that. Was that the touchdown?
I think it was a 2-point
ahead by a one.
Was that?
Wait,
let's see. No, wait.
Which
one was it?
Check.
No, it was earlier. It was the one that
it was
put
the
them up by
35-34 touchdown.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Yeah.
We know what
Hunt scored the game.
Right.
They know who we mean. Hunt scored the touchdown that put the game at 42-all. But, Mayfield can move when he wants to and when he has to. And it's just a matter of finding the right balance. Finding the right balance in their running game, finding the right balance between run and pass. And the Browns have so much to be optimistic about and proud of. I know that we played the sound earlier of Kevin Stefanski saying they're not interested in moral victories. And I'm not interested in a coach who will say anything other than we're not interested in moral victories. But at the end of the day, they have to feel good about where they are heading into the final 3 weeks. Unfortunately, the loss makes it much more difficult to surpass the Steelers. Now, essentially 2 games back with 3 to go. The tiebreaker is not going to go Cleveland's way, even if they pull the split with Pittsburgh and beat them Week 17, because the superior division record will belong to the Steelers. The Browns have lost twice to the Ravens. But I don't see the Steelers losing to the Bengals next Monday night. If they do, that opens the door for the final 2 weeks. But I'd be stunned if the Steelers continue their 2-game losing streak against a team that's won 2 games all year.
No, yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I would be stunned there too. I don't know if they don't catch the Steelers for the division. It doesn't really matter. We've talked about that. It's not a big deal for home field advantage or anything like that. Right now, they're sitting in the 5 spot, which means they'd have to go back to Tennessee, where they just kicked their butt a few weeks ago. So they probably wouldn't feel too uncomfortable about that type of matchup as much as you want to win the division, and I understand that. But, either way, the Browns are going to be able to walk away from the last few weeks of football, even last night. It's going to be a positive. You're a playoff team, and you're going to start to say, wait, we're not only a playoff team, we can make moves in the playoffs. Like, we can play with the big boys and maybe win multiple games and get an AFC championship. You certainly can with that offensive line they have. I mean, it's definitely, it might be the best O-line in football. I mean, we know what they're going to do. They're going to run the ball, and they're going to run boots and play actions, and nobody really can stop it. I mean, it's phenomenal physical group. They can physically dominate you. They're really well coached. Those two running backs are insane. And now what's made them awesome is, okay, our run game maybe is not killing it or whatever else. You're overplaying our run game. Well, Baker Mayfield is very comfortable in our drop-back pass game and throwing the ball around the field too. And we're seeing that. Not only just off of play action and boots, which we saw, we're starting to see last night drop-back pass dice them up a little bit. That was probably one of the big questions we got about that offense. Can they do that when that comes around? And we saw enough last night, but they had that Baltimore Ravens defense reeling. And, of course, I think a little differently of that Baltimore Ravens defense after the last few weeks.
And the Browns passing game post Odell Beckham Jr., there was a question posed to Chad O'Shea, the receivers coach and passing game coordinator, over the weekend about how different is the offense without OBJ. He says it's not something he's ever thought about, which would make him the only person connected to the NFL who hasn't thought about it. He attributes the development of the passing game to just the fact that the receivers there who are busting their butts and working hard. Chris, I continue to be a firm believer that removing from the equation a guy who is constantly sucking up all the attention and putting pressure on the quarterback to wait for him to get open and throw him the football, that's not a bad thing if you have other guys you can rely on. And they have other guys that Baker Mayfield can rely on, from Rashard Higgins, who had 6 catches for 68 yards and a touchdown last night. Donovan Peoples-Jones. Every time I see that guy's name, I think Chris Berman. Sure, I haven't heard this. Surely he calls him Donovan Peoples-Court-Jones. That one's too easy. Every time I see that jersey, I think of Berman calling him, "Hey, Peoples-Court-Jones." But 3 catches for 74 yards. So they have got, and they got the ball to the tight ends a little bit more than David Njoku, who just is kind of this mysterious figure, a first-round pick who still lingers on the team. He had a few nice plays last night, and Baker Mayfield spreading the ball around. And when you have a guy in Kareem Hunt who can contribute in the passing game, you have a diverse attack.
Definitely.
Where there's never a question, did Jarvis Landry get the ball enough? There's never a question, did Kareem Hunt get the ball enough? With all these guys, there's never a question, did one get the ball enough? Pre-OBJ ACL tear, it was a constant question, is he getting the ball enough? Chris, that is not a positive vibe for any football team.
No, I get that, but it's not like Odell is the one having a press conference going, I need the ball more. Okay, I mean,
we can pull quotes over the past couple of years, because in his mind he equates. But
this year,
hang on,
we're talking about.
He equates. Well, but it was percolating. He equates me getting the ball with winning. The thing that was frustrating them this year is they weren't able to beat good teams. That's what would send him into a funk. He knew the narrative just as it was getting established. They beat the teams they should. They lose convincingly to the teams that they should lose to. He would feel much better about where they are right now. The question is, the chicken and the egg, would they be where they are right now if he was playing for them right now? Would they have gotten to the point where they could beat a team like the Titans convincingly?
Right.
Where they could be close to a team like the Ravens? We don't know. We may never know, because by the offseason, they may decide we are better off moving forward with a collection of receivers, none of whom there's ever a question about, are we throwing him the ball enough?
He's a lightning rod guy. He is. Even if he was sitting in the corner doing nothing, he's become the type of star and spectacle that, we still write a story and we go, like, biggest story of the day. He was sitting in the corner doing nothing. What's wrong with him? And then it becomes a thing. Like, why are you sitting in the corner and being quiet? What's wrong with you? So he can't really do right
but
there.
Chris, he's got blame.
I know he has
for
blame. He does.
Because he welcomed all that in 2014 after
That's
he made
fine.
that catch, and he became the flavor of the month.
Like, that might as well be 7
on top
decades
of a car
ago.
in Germany.
2014 and 15. That's decades.
He contributed to the transformation of Odell Beckham Jr. into someone who wasn't just a football player, but an icon beyond the sport. He welcomed it, and he loved every minute of it until the scrutiny came along. So there's a way he could have played this 2014, 2015, and maybe he needed better advice from grown-ups in the room because he's young at the time. I don't fault him for making decisions that a young person would make, but the reality is we developed this obsession with Odell Beckham Jr. because he welcomed the spotlight.
No doubt.
He bathed in it. He basked in it. And he did all those things on the sidelines that other people don't do, like slam your helmet into the kicking net and it swings back and hits you in the face.
Yeah, well, yeah, he had some moments. We know that. There's no doubt about that. I mean, but this year he didn't really have those moments. He's been a team guy since he's been in Cleveland. But I understand your question. I do. Listen, we've talked about it a zillion times. Nobody seems more affected by Odell Beckham Jr. on the field than Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is the number one guy, I've always said from the start of last year, that looks uncomfortable with it. Everybody else seemed fine. Now, Odell, you're right, he's made his own bed in a lot of these ways. I do think he's tried to turn the corner and be, the team guy, do things the right way for himself and the Cleveland Browns. And I think he's been a little unfortunate here where the offense got its mojo, and maybe it is because without him. I mean, maybe it is, but I don't look at it that way. I think it's more of they didn't have an offseason like Jarvis Landry had said to you and like we talked about before, where, the offense wasn't hitting on all cylinders early in the year. It was simple. It was all about just the run, and there wasn't a lot to offer you in the pass game. They've obviously have a better understanding of that now. I'm one that sits here and goes, no, wow. I mean, man, what would they look like if they had Odell Beckham Jr. on the field last night? I understand the questions the other way, but I think, too, with Chad O'Shea, and Mike, I'm glad you brought him up, the passing game coordinator, quietly one of the best things Kevin Stefanski has done in his career. Because you know me, I complained about his passing game schematics. But a guy like O'Shea with his New England background, now he can infuse a few more ideas into a passing scheme that I think was kind of ordinary. But ultimately, I don't know. I'm one that thinks, hey, if they had Odell out there last night, that could be even scarier for where this offense is right now.
Look, we both have a ton of respect for Brian Flores, but he gave both the Giants and the Browns a gift by getting rid of defensive coordinator Patrick Graham after 1 year,
definitely,
and Chad O'Shea after 1 year, right?
Yes.
Both of those. It's look, you can't knock the Dolphins because they're doing fine too. Maybe it is a win, but O'Shea and Graham both doing fine where they currently are.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.